alone. And CNN law enforcement analyst and former ATF executive Matthew Horace. Matthew, there is no proof at this point of these being coordinated attacks, meaning that there was some type of knowledge and planning into this. But have you ever heard of 4 shootings in 3 states in this type of period before?
I have not. I think the closest thing I can think of is what happened during that time period in Tulsa and Dallas. And at this point, I'm sure the FBI and other organizations are going to look at the facts of the cases to try to draw some connection if possible, but it may just be happenstance.
So, Joe, let's talk about that. San Antonio, St. Louis, Gladstone, Missouri, just outside of Kansas City, Sanibel, Florida. What are the chances they're not connected in your mind?
Well, I don't think they're connected. But, I mean, just I don't think they're connected.
This is just a terrible, terrible coincidence that happened in these 24 hours.
Yes, I just think maybe somebody saw something that happened on TV. It might have provoked them to do so. But
so
not necessarily where this is a
copycat, not coordinated.
Correct,
Even though the MO seems to be the same in terms of a police officer sitting in his patrol car after a routine so-called traffic stop and being shot.
Right. I mean, we saw this in Iowa about 2 weeks ago. Same thing, where they just drove up on an officer who was sitting at a traffic light, and they shot him at the traffic light. So this is something that I have a feeling that these guys know this is pretty easy to do, and if they want to go out and kill a cop, this is the easiest way. They're totally defenseless.
Also, just quickly, Joel, the reason for your rationale is you believe that the period between these shootings is what invited the copycat, that somebody hears about one on TV and they go out and do it, and that's why, even though they're all so close, you believe one could have been the catalyst for the other?
Yes, I think so. I don't think this is a group of people that decided they're going to do this. I just think that they get the idea and say, you know, I mean, listen, most people we're dealing with have a mental health issue. And they're watching things that happen on TV or on the Internet, and they get inspired by it.
Well, that is the fact pattern here that Allison's referring to that's so specifically troubling is this hunting, right? Right up to the car, right through the window, right next to him at a traffic stop. San Antonio, Texas, that's what happened, and took the officer's life. Very brazen. It's not like this was part of a shootout. What does that tell you?
Chris, cold, unmitigated execution of police officers is unacceptable. It's not the first time. We've seen it even here in New York City. Right. These officers are defenseless. They're doing their jobs in their cruisers. They don't even have an opportunity to fight back. We teach officers to respond and fight and fight. They're not given that opportunity, and we want to find out who's responsible and do it with a quickness.
Joe, even if these are not connected in terms of some sort of coordination, do you think it says something about the climate out there and that things have gotten more dangerous for police officers?
Oh, absolutely. But, I mean, a lot of people tell you that the statistics don't show that, but we're up triple the amount of numbers of ambush killings compared to the last 2 years combined. And that's something that...
Wait, is that right? Because I think we just saw Polo Sandoval's... More police officers have already been shot this year than last year, but you think that it's even more than that?
On the ambush.
Ambush.
Oh, ambush. I see.
This hunting of officers.
Right. I mean, officers dying by gunfire this year is up over 70% compared to last year. That's a verifiable statistic. So that's something to be really concerned about.
So what's going on?
Well, we have more access to guns. There are a lot more guns out there. There has been a nationwide talk about policing and how it gets done. And I think a lot of people within communities that feel that they've been oppressed, communities of color, and I think that they have, acted out in certain aspects. Now, we've had the white survivalists, we've had the black militants, we've had, so it's been a variety of things, and we have to look at it because the last number of officers that have been killed have been done by either the sovereign citizens or these white nationalists.
So it's not just communities of color. I mean, you think that that's part of the conversation?
No, definitely not.
Right. I just want to clarify what you were
no.
saying. It's not that communities of color feel oppressed. It's that it's a wide swath across the country.
Correct. I mean, this is something that we have to be concerned about.
Matthew?
I think that enough question is out there is that whole idea of coptics, the whole optics of policing right now. When people see what's happening, no matter what the color, no matter what the gender, people get excited. And when you factor in mental health and those sort of issues, it gives people that opportunity to say, let me go do something.
Like what we saw here in New York with the 2 officers.
100%.
Guy was certainly deranged. What his diagnosis is remains to be seen. What do you do about this? Is there a way, there's a lot of talk in policing about buddying up again, but if somebody comes up and ambushes the car, you're really just creating a second victim scenario by having someone in the cruiser. What can you do in a situation like this?
In departments all across the country today, as always, they're telling their officers to be more vigilant, closer attention to everyone. But Chris, it presents a very interesting dichotomy. We want officers to pay closer attention, be more engaging to the public. We want officers to get out and speak to people and be that friendly person. But then you have situations like this where someone pulls a car up to a police officer and shoots them in the head. And people want to know why officers are on edge all the time or so much of the time. This is why. And it's very difficult to put that badge and gun on every single day and go out and do that job knowing that things like this can and do happen.
People are surprised to hear, whether it's you guys or all my friends in the job say the same thing, that their goal every day is to go home.
Absolutely. Matthew, Joe, thank you. As things develop during the course of the program, we'll bring you back.